Oh, yeah.
All right.
Here we are.
Here we are. Where are we at today? We are at O'Connell's. You know how they say the joke that there's an Irish bar in almost every city? When I first moved there, I was like, get the fuck out of here. You telling me there's an actual O'Connell's here? I really was.
Who is O'Connell's?
Good question. Well, perfect person to answer that. We have here Simon Foster.
Hey guys, how are things?
Hello. First off, let's get this started. We have here a whiskey that Simon recommended.
Yep, this is
Tell us what we have here.
This is a Readbreast 12-year-old. It's matured in sherry casks. It's been there for 12 years apparently.
Okay.
And it is from Ireland. Three times distilled. Lots of sherry notes in the nose and really smooth mouthfeel going down. Pretty awesome stuff.
Very smooth.
Very controversial, but to me, I like it because it's not as smoky. I know people really like the smoky Irish whiskeys. I can't do those.
Yeah, that's one of the things about Irish whiskey is that in general we don't add the smoke, so to speak. The way of getting the malts roasted is done with a closed kiln, so the smoke isn't permeating through the malts.
Okay.
Whereas the Scots have an open peat fire that the smoke actually goes through the malted barley.
Yeah, very
I
good.
did not
very
know
good.
that.
Yeah, me neither. Sounds really good. I mean, tastes really good.
Mm-hmm.
Tastes really good.
Yeah, 3 times distilled gets it that really nice smoothness.
Yeah.
Definitely for sipping, not for.
Oh yeah,
doing
definitely
shots.
a sipping whiskey.
Yeah.
What's the percentage alcohol? Do you remember?
40 even. It's
40 even?
It's brought down to 40.
Okay. So, TK, where were you this last week
I was in Toronto, Canada.
for quote unquote work?
It was work.
It was work.
It was
Okay.
work. It was work, but it was a beautiful trip. Canada is beautiful. I mean, let me not say Canada. I didn't go through the whole of Canada. I was in Toronto. Funny thing, the logo, Toronto City's logo, was designed by a Finnish architect.
Really?
Yeah, and his name was okay. Let me not quote his name over here, but he was from
Okay.
Vasa.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of Finland in Toronto. Yeah.
I know that there's Finnish architects that have done like the St. Louis Arch and stuff like that. Is it the same guy?
I think it might be because
Yeah.
it was him and he had some assistants. I think he had 2 or 3 assistants. So the guy who actually designed the Toronto City Hall died before it was completed, and he was very pissed off that he didn't get to, to design the interior of it. But it's a good building. It's a very nice building, and the city is dope, and lots of restaurants and lots of things to do in your free time.
What was the best thing you ate there?
The best thing that I ate there actually was some Jamaican oxtail. There was a little Jamaican dive just around the corner from the hotel we were staying at.
Yeah.
The food was amazing, man. It was really good. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of Irish connection, did you know? Do you know the Ireland and the Choctaw Indians? Do you know that story?
Never heard.
Never heard. So during the 1800s, after the Trail of Tears, is when the Native Americans got kicked out of their land and they were forced to relocate. And then one of the U.S. Government officials were talking to the Indians, and they're saying, "Yeah, in Ireland, there's a big famine right now." So they all chipped in money and they sent it to Ireland.
Oh man, that's
So
awesome.
in Ireland,
Yeah.
there's a monument of, like, from feathers. And then
cool.
just this year, the Choctaw Indians they made a monument on their land, and then the minister from Ireland came over.
All right.
And they come over, so there's like a connection there between Ireland.
That's absolutely awesome. I mean, like the famine in Ireland decimated the population. It was potato famine ran from in the 1840s, and it was the population of Ireland before the famine was about 8 million, and 100 years later it was 2 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So imagine these Indians, they collected $170 worth, which today is like $4,000 or $5,000. So imagine you're living in tents and you manage to collect money to send to Ireland.
Wow.
And then during
awesome.
during COVID, when the reservations were pretty much, alcoholism and all that kind of, so there was a lot of poverty also during COVID. So Ireland donated $2 million to the tribes in America.
Oh, super stuff. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
hey, what
there's
goes
connection,
around
man.
comes around.
Exactly, man.
But we wanted to talk, like Simon's here. We don't want to take too much of his
Yeah,
time. We
yeah.
wanted to talk with you a bit, of course, about O'Connell's. That's why we're here.
Yep.
Yep.
But also about you. Who are you? How come are you in Finland? Like I know as a foreigner, you've told
Yeah.
this story a million times.
Yeah,
I've never heard. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. This is something that I get asked quite often as to how I ended up here. The roots of the story is I was working in a hotel in Ireland, quite a posh hotel. It was called the Kildare Hotel and Country Club, and the country club was called the K Club. And every time I said that to Finns, they said, "Oh, the gay,
Gay club, yes, yes, yes.
That was one thing that came up quite a lot. It's the place is still there. It was actually quite close to my birth home and stuff like that. So, I was working there, and I met this one Finnish guy, and he became a good friend of mine. And he was basically there to learn service English. He'd been to the Haga Institute doing the ravintolatutkimmus kind of thing, the gastronomy or whatever it's called. He had to do a 6-month work placement in Ireland. And like I said, during that time that we weren't exactly working together, but we were friends. We became good friends, and then he came back to Finland. And he immediately landed a job managing this place, O'Connell's Irish Bar. Wow. He had his friend Jari Savolainen, who's regretfully passed away a couple of years ago. But it was his brainchild to have an Irish bar, and I actually had the opportunity to meet him before the bar even existed, and we talked about where the bar is going to be. It's in this wonderful city called Tampere. And they were still hadn't figured out the name, and Tam was asking what is the origins of the name. Well, in Ireland, a lot of the main streets of the bigger towns and cities, it's called O'Connell Street, and it's named after a guy called Daniel O'Connell, who brought about an Irish statesman who was in the British Parliament, because Ireland was under British rule then. And he brought about Catholic emancipation, so basically equal rights for Catholics. Before Catholics were very much legally subjugated and put down and stuff like that. It was a tough time, and the Irish still feel a little bit of bitterness about that, as I'm sure has been going around. But anyway, he came back, and his friend said, "Hey, would you like to manage this bar that I just opened?" And Jammu, he said, "Yeah, sure, let's give it a go." And he came up here, and I was still working in this hotel in Ireland, and he gave me a call and said, "Hey, would you like to be a bartender in this bar that we just got up and running?" I said, "Well, okay, I've got some things that I need to clear up and stuff like that."
What year is this again?
The bar opened in '96,
Okay.
December of '96, and he asked me in January or February, "Hey, can you come over?" And I said, "Okay, well, let me come over for a small holiday, and I'll see how I like it." That was at the end of March, beginning of April of '97. And I came here, had a week, had a blast. I did a little bit of bartending, and then I loved the life here. I love the people here. The feeling in this city is really, really good. A cosmopolitan city. So I said, okay, I'm going to go back home. I'm going to finish up my stuff, and then start thinking about how I'm going to be able to move my life. I was still a young lad at that point. I was 20, going on 21. So 6 months later, packed my bags and all my worldly possessions, basically, which fit into a basic, duffel bag. So
Yeah.
I was still living at home at that point, so I didn't have very much. Anyway, I came over and got set up, got into a small apartment, and started working here. And I said, yeah, okay, if I really like it, I might stay longer than maybe I'll give it 6 months or so. If I like it, I'll stay a bit longer. And here I am, still here, almost, 27 years later? Yeah, it was last week I celebrated 27 years of working in this bar and living in Finland. So.
Yeah. Congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they get you, right? So I identify with this story because I had the same. Of like, yeah, I'll just go there for holidays for a week or two. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Actually, it's pretty well known that often when people come to Finland and visit it first, they tend to want to stay. Like, I mean, if you had an idea that you might want to live here, if you actually do come here and experience Finland, then a lot of people tend to want to stay. That's kind of also the logic behind what they have in Helsinki, the 90-day program, where they invite like people from outside of Finland to come and experience Finland for 90 days. And then after 90 days, quite often there's people that decide that they actually want to establish themselves here. So
there's a lot of good things going on in this country. I mean, like I said, there's a cosmopolitan society. I mean, like the story of the Finns and the Irish is actually not too dissimilar. We were just talking about, Great Britain being the oppressor, and here
Colonizers.
colonized. Well, yeah, and then in Finland we got we had the Russians and the Swedes, and big battle between those two guys as to who's going to get Finland, and so I mean, like there's been that oppression here too.
Yeah,
I'm curious. Like you've been to the mid '90s. What was Tampere like? Because I mean, in 10 years, I've seen it change, but I can imagine how much change you've seen.
Oh, geez, yeah. I mean, some buildings have come and gone, and the Scandic just down the road that wasn't there. I actually lived in something called Asunto Hotel. Yeah, I don't know how that translates. It's sort of like an apartment. But it's a hotel, but it's an apartment.
Yeah. Was McDonald's here, Subway here when you were here?
McDonald's was here.
Okay.
There was a couple of McDonald's. Actually, one of my co-workers had a day job working in the McDonald's, and then he came here for the night shift. So, so yeah, I mean, McDonald's was here. There was even something called Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut.
I missed that. I missed that.
Oh wow!
I'm so mad.
There's only one Pizza Hut, as far as I know, left in Finland, and that's out in Tesoma for some bizarre reason. It's like in the middle of suburbia.
I'm curious about this because we've discussed this before. Because nowadays, coming to the city, you go to an Irish bar, you go to if you want to have Chinese, you go for Chinese. You can experience many different cultures and many different bars, kind of thing, and kind of like different ethnic places. But at that time, having an Irish bar, what was that experience?
Yeah, what was the crowd like there?
Oh well, okay. So if we're talking about sort of like this whole bar and restaurant kind of scene, what happened in the 90s was Finland joined the EU in 95, and that meant big changes for the way that alcohol was regulated. Basically, Finland had to give up its monopoly and so on and so forth. And there started to be a flood of new beers. So it wasn't just your basic number 3 beer, Carhu or Lapinkulta as it was back then. It wasn't just though. There was all of a sudden this new world of beer, and the Finns lapped it up. They lapped it up. I'm telling you, it was crazy. There was so many new bars. I mean, like O'Connell's was one of the bars that opened, but Olotuene, Cafe Europa. There's so many new bars that opened. Vanhaposti. All these new places opened up, and they're starting to serve all British and Belgian and German and stuff like that. All these weird beers, the Trappist beers, and I mean, like it's like Finns experienced flavor for the first time. Kind of crazy that way.
Yeah. I remember like 10 years when I moved here, and the IPAs, or IPA as they call it here. When I first moved here 10 years ago, it was like in the US it just started to be like a thing, and then I started seeing in Finland. But honestly, like all the IPAs I tried in Finland were just garbage. It was just hops just for the point of being hoppy. Yeah. So eventually it got a lot better now. But I remember 10 years ago, you couldn't get a good IPA from Finland.
Yeah, I mean, like, from somewhere near where you are. I mean, like Sierra Nevada was one of the big new breweries to come in. I think they're California, aren't they? Yeah. Even though they're name is Nevada.
Yeah, it's Nevada. The water is from the Sierra stuff.
But yeah, I mean, like they were one of the first big craft breweries. I know that they set up sometime in the late 70s, early 80s. But they were one of the big craft breweries that started out. But of course, I mean, like the Finns at that time, they were drinking like Guinness and some of the bigger English breweries like Fuller's and so on. Okay. But yeah, the idea of those IPAs sort of like developed, and then sort of like came bigger, bolder hops and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I remember, I think it was about 2006, 2007. We had our first really big IPA, and that was Punk IPA, and Punk IPA from Scotland, Brewdog.
Yeah.
They really kicked off things with the whole idea of craft brewing, and then,
that's true.
Like I said, it was a battle to get like you were saying, to get as much hops into the beer as possible. Yeah. Thankfully, that's leveled out.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. How much was a beer in 1997?
Well, back then it was the Marks.
Oh, Marks.
In
okay.
Marks time. So okay. I mean, like.
When it was
let me see. The when I started work here, basic pint of in this bar we serve only pints. But the basic pint was 18 marks and roughly divided by 6. That's €3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 euros. Yeah, and the Guinness was then 24 marks, so that's €4.
Yeah.
So,
but O'Connell's has been around for so long, and you've seen a lot of bars come and go in the city of Tampere, right? Like, what's the thing behind there? Like, how have you managed to stick it out?
Well, I mean, like, what do we do here? I mean, like, we serve really good quality beers, and we opened our kitchen back in 2008. So since then, we've been putting a little bit of focus towards food. Entertainment is a big thing. So I mean, like, how do you keep customers coming? I mean, like, you have to provide good products, good service, and good entertainment. And fortunately for us, I mean, like, the Irish bar concept, is one that naturally appeals to people, because it's sort of like this whole easygoing, laid back attitude. Yeah. But having great bar staff, which I'm blessed that we do, makes a huge difference. I mean, like, you don't want somebody impersonal who doesn't know anything about the beers. Yeah. In a place like this, I mean, like, we got 22 taps, so I mean, like,
wow,
you have something for everybody.
Yeah.
I think what I really like about it's very international also. Every time I've come here, I've heard English speaking, heard different languages speaking. You know, it's not just like one of those atypical like Finnish bars where every bar is like a carbon copy of each other.
Yeah.
It's definitely like character when you come
in.
here.
For sure. I mean, like Irish bars also lend themselves to the expat community.
Yeah.
Big time.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember one of the first times I came here, I had a friend that I met in Finnish course. His name was Tom. He was a PhD researcher. So we used to come out here and just hang out and have a couple of beers. And this was the most international space that there was when, at that time. And I really enjoyed it. And then later on, there was improv sometimes. And it was, I really liked the vibe over here. Good drinks, good. The food, I mean, what did we just have?
You had the Guinness beef stew. And that, I mean, like, of course, Guinness and beef.
Yes.
And it's stewed for a long time, got some good vegetables. And hey, I mean, like, it's an Irish bar, you got to have potatoes, so it's totally covered in potatoes, and got some cheese gratinated on top. So
nice.
For my American friends, it's a shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also called shepherd's pie. Yes.
It is very nice here because the menu is constantly changing. I know that you try to keep like bringing stuff.
We managed to get a new chef here in January, and he's trying to bring this new style of cuisine and new way of cooking. So he's been slowly adapting the menu, trying not to leave our regular customers behind or anything like that. Yeah. So I mean, like, he's been trying to push the menu into a new level.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the hardest thing as a restaurateur myself, when you change a menu and then you have that one person come in. Oh, how come this isn't on there?
Yeah.
It's like,
regretfully, I mean, I mean, like, that's the price of progress.
Yeah. And also certain things that they like, but at the end of the day, this isn't charity, this is business. And if that product price has gone up so high where I can't keep the price reasonable, like, would you pay 25 euros for that if everybody,
You have to have a sense of perspective.
Yeah. So then customers, they usually understand that. Okay, that's good.
But our new menu has had great feedback, so I'm really pleased with what Alex is doing in our kitchen.
Yeah.
Nice. Shout out to Alex.
Shout out to Alex.
Shout out to
Who's Polish, by the way. So
Oh, really?
fits
nice
in
one.
with the theme of this
Yeah,
podcast.
nice one.
Was he the one that worked at Soho?
Yeah, he worked
okay.
at Soho.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I stole him from there.
Yes.
Alex wanted to change, and we had the opportunity. So
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called poaching in this industry.
yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, this is the first place that I came to watch Ismo Soderling, the comedian. What did he not have a night here at some point?
There was we tried out stand-up comedy once a month here, and it worked. But one of the things was that we wanted everything in English. So
Yeah,
we had the stand-up comedy going once a month. Regretfully, the idea didn't catch fire, but we still do the improv comedy once a month. Rene has been involved with those guys.
Yeah,
so.
I used to be quite involved in that, especially before COVID and everything. And I think what you said is like it's very true, especially on the improv nights. That's when I used to come, like before every Thursday. Now it's I think once a month. It's always packed with international
Always
people, right?
packed.
Because you don't have a lot of these.
No place to sit. Yeah.
You don't have a lot of opportunities in Tampere to go out and have some entertainment in English. That you can go and I want to watch some comedy, have a couple beers, just chill. I think this is one of the spaces that you can always find something.
Yeah, that's it's very true, and that's been one of our things that a lot of the events that we put on, like this improv night, we wanted it all in English. And Trent Pansy was the guy who came to me with the idea. What was it, 12 years ago? And
They're still going.
and they're still going. Yeah. Also, I mean, like we have this weekly pub quiz, basic general knowledge, everything from geography to history and so on. There's all sorts of stuff, all sorts of topics, but it's a general knowledge. But the main thing is that it's the questions are asked in English and Finnish.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can learn Finnish here. Yeah.
Why are you looking at me?
No need.
Yeah, and it's all on the big screen and the TVs around.
Yeah.
So
What nights do you do that?
that's every Wednesday at 7.
Wednesday, okay.
Every Wednesday at 7. And like I said, questions in English and Finnish. And then we also we have a bi-monthly theme night for the quizzes as well. That's the second and last week, every Monday of every month.
Yeah.
The one theme is movies, and the other theme is the nerd quiz. So I mean, like, if you're at all a big nerd, like computer games and manga, anime, all of these kind of things. So I mean, like, that's been super popular.
Nice.
And again, questions in English and Finnish.
Yeah.
I think that's a really nice opportunity to bring a couple of friends,
Exactly.
a couple internationals, couple Finnish,
Yeah.
and just come together for something.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is, it's funny because I think the three of us over here are quite nerdy to a certain extent.
Yes.
In as much as Tam looks cool, he's quite the nerd.
As much as I don't want to downplay it or anything like that, it's a hell of a lot of fun. These guys are hardcore nerds. These guys are serious. I mean, if it's me and the bar staff, throwing together a quick team while Mick goes here asking the questions. I mean, like, out of the 20 questions, we're doing well if we get like 7.
Yeah.
I mean, like 7 is really aced.
That's what I was thinking, because this is very funny, right? Because for me in Mexico, between my friends and stuff, it's like, yeah, you're a pretty nerd. I'm an engineer, so I started like with these kind of people that are stereotypically like that. And then when I came to Finland, it's
Man, they're deep into it.
Yeah, no, the people who go into, like, I like a bit of anime, a bit of this, a bit of that.
Yeah.
But people here, like, when they like something, it's like, bam,
Oh,
go
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
It's like hyper
bro,
focus.
you know everything.
Yeah.
Who is the voice actor for our C3PO?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, I actually did know that. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw like an Instagram post about it just the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Bader Meinhof.
Simon,
Yes, sir.
how did COVID affect your business?
Yeah, I think the toughest part for me and the company in general, I mean, like, was that that we had to tell our bar staff we don't have work for you guys. I mean, like that was heartbreaking because I mean, like our bar staff, they're all been with us a long time. I mean, it was very hard to just say, okay, please go and find something else while we get through this. It was kind of brutal that way. Otherwise, I mean, like, we talked to our landlord and stuff like that, and we managed to get some sort of like leeway. But it wasn't nice. Fortunately, the government at the time, I mean, like, they actually did step up to the plate and
some assistance.
They managed to free up some cash to help a lot of bars and restaurants cope. So Business Finland was their way of dispersing some money. Yeah, and so that money that we got, I mean, like that definitely tied us over. So kudos to the government at the time for helping us out. I wish the government at this time would be a bit nicer to, I think, everybody. I mean, like, I know I've got friends that are running bars, and they're saying, why do they need to raise the VAT rate? And then they're cutting like Nipa over in Maanalainen. He has this bar and club type thing going, but it's all under sort of like
an association.
An association, yeah. And they're having their grants cut.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of artists and
a lot of the culture things.
Yeah, culture things are being slashed, and I hate to see it because I mean, like, culture is what we're all about.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when you start slashing culture, then I mean, like, you're putting people who are struggling to make a living in the first place, and you're putting them down to poverty.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, the government is doing some interesting things.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later. I got some issues.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Simon, for joining us. I think you're a story of, like, you didn't come here as a souvenir, right? Exactly. So the whole time you tell me the story, I'm like, oh my God, that was me when I came here. Like, I'll come here for a little bit, see what it's like, and then 10 years later,
you get stuck. Right?
You get stuck here.
For me, it's very interesting about
souvenir
to hear these stories, right? Because I think you relate to him in some aspects, I relate to him in some aspects, and our stories are very different, but still, there's always this, like,
it's something there.
Very similar, like a lot of similarities in there.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, I just got word that I can stick around until the end of the podcast. So
yes,
nice.
There you go.
Nice.
You can throw in my 2 cents worth. Every now and again.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Actually, the next subject is actually going to pertain to kind of some of your. So, like, news in Finland. What kind of news in Finland? One thing I read recently is that there's an article that the middle class is struggling. Lots of jobs being cut. Buying power is low, but yet price of everything has gone up.
Yeah.
And I was reading this article where people that are like a family of 3, they're making close to 29 to 3,000 euros before taxes. Yeah. And then by the end of the paycheck, they have like 700 left for living.
Yeah.
For a family of 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, buying power is a lot less.
Yeah.
I think in a restaurant business where I talk to people, and it's affecting because, people, as we talked about, Simon, like, people have less recreational income, as we used to call it. Like, instead of going out 2 nights, they go out twice a month now. Yeah. Or they save for something, a special occasion.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen that affect your business here?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like, if I compare this year to last year, it's hard to compare to before Corona. We can't go back much further, but because the numbers are completely different then. But if I compare this year to last year, we've definitely noticed a slowdown. Yeah. And but the one thing that's shocking to me is that I go to the grocery store now, and I'm doing the weekly shopping and pick up four really super quality bags of. I mean, like, what is it with Finnish plastic bags? Jesus,
The big pussy. The big pussy.
I'm telling you, those bags are amazing. Anyway, I pick up 4 bags of groceries and I'm spending like 150, 200 euros. 4 bags of groceries. This is
Exactly.
ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think.
Well, Tika, you have a family of like 20, right?
Why is
You got a lot of kids. I can't keep track of kids.
How are you
have
still
3
alive,
kids.
man?
Yeah. No, but I completely agree that the cost of living has gone up, and incomes haven't really kind of matched that. And I think this, like, I started seeing this maybe the hardest when the conflict with our grand neighbor from next door started going on, and the price of electricity shot up. I remember during that time, during that winter, I had a bill for 1 month worth of electricity that shot up above 400 euros.
Yeah, I have a friend who has like a medium-sized house. I wouldn't say it's even like massive, but it's like a single home.
Yeah.
And he had something like, my electricity bill was 600-700 this month.
It's crazy.
Something like that. It was like really rough. That
It was very hard. I mean, and we're not even talking about. First, we're talking about the electricity. Then the price of fuel was above 2 euros at the time. Of course, things are getting a bit easier, but still, for me to go shopping for my family of, right now. I mean, if I walk out of Lidl with anything under 200, I've been very kind of like selective of the things that I'm buying. So the cost of living has definitely gone up, and the actions that are being taken right now, for example, with increasing VAT and all of that stuff, is not making it easier.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Compound that with unemployment, with high interest, with everything else that's going on the market. Even though they're saying that next year we're hoping that the economy is going to get better, right now life is very hard. So in the context of what you were saying, let's say you have 700 euros for a family of 3 left after all of your bills.
Yep.
If 3 people were to come to your restaurant, how much do you expect them to pay on one sitting?
3 people, at least 50, 60 euros.
3 people.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's groceries for them for at least a half a week.
Yeah.
Or a week if they're being
exactly.
very conservative.
Yeah,
So to kind of like try to balance that out is tough in this environment. So yeah, no, we need to do better, and let's hope that the situation changes soon. I think.
I think for electricity, I remember when I first moved there, my bill was like under 12 euros.
Okay.
Now it's 30. I'm like, what the heck? I mean, that's first world problems, But for a single guy, I'm not feeling that pinch of that.
Yeah.
But definitely for groceries, I used to order Wolt all the time. I mean, if you look at my Wolt monthly, it was. As a chef, I come home late. I don't want to cook. So I usually order Wolt day before. I used to order for 2 people, and that would stretch me out for like 3 meals. Because Wolt's expensive to begin with. So I always feel ripped off. So I order a little bit more from the place I know that's good.
Oh yeah.
Then I let it stretch out.
Yeah. The delivery fee then is for more meals than one.
Yeah. But lately, I've been doing a lot of home cooking and like home prepping. Yeah. And for people, I think in some parts of the world, some parts of America, you can still get by with, it's cheaper for me to eat out.
Yeah.
Some places that is true.
Yeah.
Japan definitely, but but I think it's bullshit because if you properly prep your meal out, you can eat for a lot.
Absolutely.
I can't even fathom that people can actually just go and eat out. And spend less than the groceries.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I mean, if I go out, I mean, well, you said 50, 60 euros is sort of like 3 people. That's not money that I have to throw around. I have to go home and cook.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Because it's as you said, as a single person, maybe of course it's not a problem to go out from time to time. But when you have a family and stuff, the price just stacks up, right? Prices have raised here, like VAT, like prices from everything have raised. And then when you put €1 here, 50 cents here,
it adds up.
It has raised, as you said. I remember maybe before Corona, it was like 20 euros. Got a bag for like 3 or 4 days. Now those small bags are like 4 40,
You know what?
50.
Yeah.
There's a really big difference now.
I have no shame buying stuff with a discount sticker on either.
Oh, me
But
neither.
if it's like a day left, I'm throwing it in the freezer. You know, like
Yeah,
to
yeah.
me- yeah.
Same
Take-
here. I mean,
take
like,
advantage of
not
that.
only
I
is it
got-
good for the planet, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
It's good for the pocket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're not the only ones. I can tell you, like, because we used to go after hours to go and check out all of the discount products in the stores, but a lot of times you go to the store and it's empty because everybody else is doing the same,
Same
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
to. I used to buy in the store next to my house,
Mm.
and I think it was before that from 9,
Mm,
then the
exactly.
30% becomes 60.
Yeah.
Yeah, they double the discount. Yeah,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the Prisma stores or the
Yeah.
S Cowpot.
Yeah. Nowadays, you go 8:30.
Yeah.
There's already people with the
Oh, yeah.
basket there.
They're waiting.
Wow.
Just chilling by the cashier, right? It's like, what are you doing? Like, are you in line? No, I'm waiting for 9.
Yeah.
I was like, people have stocked up, and
Oh, yeah.
they just go early
Yeah.
in order
Yeah.
to make these savings.
Yeah, and not only that, I think that there is actually data about the increase in the need for food assistance in a lot of the cities. And if you know where the food banks are, if you drive there certain hours and certain days during the week, you'll see how long the queues are over there. And it's not only people that don't have jobs or any of that, but there's people that are working that still have to resort to going to the food bank.
Yeah. Speaking
To
of
get some
speaking of which,
Yeah.
I mean, like Finnish Red Cross have their some offices right beside us here.
Yeah, I see the line there.
And for a couple of years, they had the food bank thing going as well. It was twice a week.
Yeah.
They increased it from once a week to twice a week.
Yeah.
But the queue used to go around.
Oh, yeah.
O'Connor's
Around the block.
around the block, around back at the next block,
Yeah.
and then
We
it
see
went
it
down
at-
to Alexandrinkatu,
Yeah, yeah.
and then came back up.
Yeah.
And yes, that's like
Yeah,
almost
a
a
lot of-
kilometer.
Yeah.
And these weren't like, quote unquote, like homeless people or,
No.
these are normal, well dressed people
Yeah.
that are middle class but still struggling.
Exactly.
Like we need extra help.
Yeah, but that's what's a shame, right? It's people who are working full-time jobs, and then at the end of the month they pay all the bills, and then I don't have money.
They have nothing left over.
Yeah.
Along with the pensioners,
Yeah. True.
whose monies they don't stretch out for as long as they used to, so they now have to go to food banks to survive. I mean, like it's absolutely sad, But let's hope that situation changes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, on happier news, I read today. It's the story of distant relatives. So you guys know the joke. Well, I saw this comedian once. It's like, like U.S. is back in the 1800s. Is everybody came from all over the world, came there. So about 400,000 Finns left to come to the great U.S. to get away from the Russians and famine and all the stuff that's going on in Finland. So they're here, and instead of like oh man, California, Texas, they're like, you know what, Minnesota, right almost along the the line,
Yeah.
It's kind of like home, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like home, Yeah. So I mean, there's a large amount there, and then when they came here, they got assimilated to culture with the native Indians.
Wow.
So after a while, they started getting it on.
So they integrated.
They integrated. And to this day, they're called Findians.
Wow.
And the Great Lake regions is home to people with roots both in Finland and in the Native American population. The number is impossible to determine, but there's still people there. And what's cool is that they traded cultures,
Yeah.
Like the Finns coming from the really cold, and Indians being driven up because of
Everything there.
everything that has America because of freedom. they pushed the natives Indian into the colder regions.
Yeah.
So they taught the Indians how to make skis and ski shoes and everything.
Oh wow.
And how to survive like the rough winters.
Yeah, that's cool.
And today there's still about 500,000 Finnish Indian descendants that live in the Minnesota area.
Wow.
Amazing.
And like, to me, like that cross culture is like pretty.
Yeah.
Showing pictures, yeah,
And
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember at some point I used to work at a place where we used to get on a yearly basis students that were children of Finnish migrants, or not children, but descendants of Finnish migrants from the United States that used to study at a Finnish connected university in the States.
Yeah.
So they would come and kind of like do like a cultural exchange and come and see what Finland is like, and maybe they were learning a bit of Finnish in their university, and then they would come to Helsinki, and then they'll drop by in Tampere and just kind of check it out. So there's definitely a long history of migration also from Finland, and not only to the countries that are closer by, but also to the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, I found a Finnish.
Does that look scary to you or what? Finnish Indian.
He looks hardcore.
That's pretty hardcore. Man.
Yeah.
Hey, on the topic of Finnish migrants, I'm going to add one more point.
Yeah.
We were on a educational trip when I was studying law at university in Namibia at some point. Mm-hmm. So we went to this tiny little border town called Opuo, right by the border to Angola. And when we got there, the church that was there was a Finnish missionary church. And they were the first people to translate the Bible into the local languages. And there was an old Finnish couple that was living in this church and had been living in this community for so long that they had actually started teaching the locals Finnish.
Huh.
Very good.
Crazy.
But Namibia and Finland also have a very long history. I mean, Finland was involved in their liberation struggle and their independence and stuff like that. But that was something that I didn't even think about.
I've always said like Finnish people are the most traveled people.
Yeah.
It goes like every time I travel and I hear you can tell the dialect. I don't understand it, but if I hear like Vitus, I'm like, oh, they're Finnish. Me and Mario, shout out to Mario.
Yeah.
We were in this little town outside of Ensenada, this little dive bar, and then these two couple walks in, and my friend Mario's like, "Cabron, they're Finnish." And I was like, "No, I don't think so." I'm like, "Okay." And they sat down. All of a sudden, they started speaking Finnish, and like we were laughing so hard, like this little dive bar in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. It's like all Mexicans and me, and a Finnish couple walk in there.
Aren't you Mexican, Tom?
He's trying hard. He's trying hard.
No mames.
Oh man.
Yeah, they're definitely well traveled.
How do you see here? Because as you said, there's a lot of foreigners coming usually to like this Irish bars. It's very common, right?
Yep.
How do you see the community coming together here? Because of course you organize some events, but I'm guessing it's also quite prevalent even when there's no events that there's a lot of foreigners coming and going.
Well, a little bit of history. I mean, like when I first arrived here, this was a center for a lot of expats because they didn't really have a place to go. There wasn't that Irish bar which brings the community together. I mean, like. But back in those days, Nokia was up and coming, and there was a lot of people, a lot of engineers that got work in the city from all over the world, but Ireland included. I still have quite a few friends who have worked for Nokia and have since moved back. There are still a few still around, but the community as such. I mean, like when Nokia died, a lot of that expat community actually just left.
Yeah, yeah.
It was really sad to see. Okay, I mean, like that. There is still some big international corporations like Sandvik have a big office here, and Valmet is running well, and but yeah, I mean, like Nokia was a huge employer, especially of expats in this town, and to see them all go was a crying shame. Yeah, to see what happened to Nokia was a crying shame.
Yeah.
I think now with NATO, I've seen a lot of people in the Air Force, Army. They've been coming here a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like I think we have some friends in common. The Patria guys, Andy Van Gelder. He stayed here even though he left the Lockheed Martin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with the Air Force, the Air Force base out here in Pirkkala, okay, I think they've moved a lot of the stuff away from. But yeah, there was certainly
there's still a lot of contractors that work here. A lot of Air Force because I remember.
And Patria is no small company in defense industry. So
I remember like every time I see a bunch of them come into like TNT or whatever, and they're always like clean cut, and like very diverse.
Boss cut.
Yeah, it was a very diverse group.
Short
like,
back and sides.
Yeah. They're like, yes sir, yes ma'am. I'm like, oh, You're American? Yeah. Where you from? Oh, Alabama. I was like, what are you here for? I'm here for work. And I was like, yeah. What do you work for? Just contract. I was like, as a contractor, U.S. Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine. And then they're like,
I'm a contractor's code language for I work for the military.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, I'm ex-Navy vet. I was like, I can tell you guys 10 feet away. First of all, there's no company that diverse. It was a very diverse group. Like, there's no company that diverse.
Yeah. No, I think NATO has really done they really boosted the military technology industry as well. I mean, the industry in general, but for example, Rihimäki is doing a lot of work in the defense tech sector, and they're trying to do a lot. And I mean, Tampere has been there for a long time, and they're doing well.
So as you guys know, tonight I'm leaving. So right now it's 6 o'clock right now. I'm catching a bus at 2 a.m.
You'll be back though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm coming back.
Where are you going, Tam?
I'm going to Connecticut, New England area. Going to take care of some business there, and then see my little high school class reunion.
Okay.
So, but while I'm there, it's the U.S. election.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna vote?
Yeah. You have to vote, Tam. And you have to tell us exactly about
have
how
you
your trip
have
goes
you voted
on
already?
the next episode.
I voted
So
already.
what are you voting for?
Yeah. Make America great again, baby.
So-
Just joking. But I'm curious.
I can't imagine there's a single expat that wants to vote for Trump.
Oh, this is nice. But I'm
don't
curious.
know,
Because once you got that outside perspective, you realize how crazy it all is.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts. And luckily, most of my friends they're smart. But I know I'm going to meet a couple rednecks that are going to be like, yeah, buddy, Trump, America.
I can imagine that passions run quite high at this time.
Yeah, and what I hate about U.S. politics now is like it's so divisive. It used to be where you're Republican, Democrat, neutral, we disagree. I mean, all of us are friends, but we disagree on stuff.
Yeah.
But we're not like, no,
Like,
I'm not friends with you at all
never wanna
because
see you
you
again.
support that party.
Yeah,
But
you know,
this is the crazy part, and I don't know if it's because, for example, I think a lot of things got a bit more extreme with COVID, right? People got a bit more on the edge.
yeah, yeah.
Too much social media.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's
Exactly.
partly-
Going down the squirrel hole.
Yeah.
I think it's partly that.
Yeah.
Because in Mexico we have the same situation where it used to be like you can disagree on whatever, but now everything's so divided that it's you against me. If you disagree with me, we cannot be friends. I have a lot of friendships being kind of cut because of that. The problems between families. It has gotten to the point that everything's so extreme.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, I don't know, very interesting to see.
For me, I mean, like I think the U.S. elections, the U.S. Political system is kind of broken because it's set up to be
Just
two
two-party.
parties, and
Yeah.
and that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
when Ireland gained independence from the British. One of the things that the British wrote into the contract was you must put in this proportional representation system, and their thinking at the time was that
Fair and balanced.
okay, so
Yep.
if they no, not totally not
Okay.
was that if we make them so divided. Then the whole system will fall apart. But it actually made us stronger that we actually have to make compromises. We actually have to come together and, yes, you're going to be on that side and I'm going to be on this side. But we have to find some middle ground here because otherwise the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah.
But in the US system, I mean, like it's there's this gerrymandering and stuff
Oh my
like
God.
that going on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like they're carving out single streets to get them into the right area. We want these Republican voters, and we want to exclude those other people that
Exactly.
we don't want.
So for people who are familiar, like America vote, it's not the pop. If the popular vote, then it's simple, but it's not so popular. That's why they call U.S. now the battleground states because they have more electorates. So if you get more electorates, then those count to the electorate votes.
That's what
Which is
happened.
all
That's what
bullshit.
happened in the last election when Trump won, right? That is like he didn't get more votes, but he got the ones that mattered. And then,
Oh no, he lost on all of them.
Yeah.
But he claimed that it was all election fraud from those.
Oh yeah, from
those
the last one.
Yeah,
from the-
From last one, but the one that he won.
The only one, yeah, he won the electoral,
first
but he
one.
lost the popular. Yeah, you're right.
That's what I mean. Like,
the first time
that's
he
how
won.
it's set up in a very weird that people were wondering like how the hell can this happen? And
Yeah,
like,
it's
well,
not a popular vote. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the gerrymandering to those places where they know that can get the most votes.
Al Gore won the popular vote.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah.
And
But so what is that called? Is that a representative democracy? Or, I mean, because if the vote that counts is not the one for the individual, but the collective vote that is then put in by the state, that means that your vote doesn't count.
No, it still counts. So the popular vote still counts in the states that don't have a lot of electoral votes.
Okay.
It's very
So
bullshit.
complicated.
I watched a Matt's documentary on YouTube about how easy it is to tilt the system, and that by adding an extra seat you can actually lose 2 type thing. I mean, it's crazy. But my main point was that by having it so divisive, it actually pushes people apart.
Exactly.
This us versus them, and you push people apart. You instill this lack of ability to compromise, and it only drives hate.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right now, it's either you're a Nazi or a communist. No in between. You know, the far right thinks everybody left is a communist. The far left thinks everyone on the right is a communist. No, there's people that are in the middle, like me. You know, I'm pro guns and I'm pro choice. And I like guns and hookers. You know,
and in the House of Representatives, there's a lot of people that are in that middle ground, but they're being forced to go further and further to the edges.
Are they the ones that are called swing voters because they're in the middle and they don't stand anywhere specifically besides for principles that actually matter?
Well, another thing is that they call it single issue voters. So I only vote on one issue.
Yeah.
I want guns right. That's all I want. Fuck everything else. You know.
Yeah.
I want pro-choice. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, you have the right to vote. You know, whatever your values are.
Yeah.
I know that they've talked about reforming the system, but when everybody's so far apart, they can't even come together on talking about maybe changing the way this is done. I think I might be overstepping it, but I think that America's heading, United States of America is heading to civil war.
Yeah,
I don't think it's unreasonable to think.
I don't disagree. Trump just recently called out that I can call a military for the enemy within. The enemy within. Yeah, so basically anybody that you disagree with.
The Pelosi's and I was watching the news about that this morning. It's crazy.
The crazy part for me is that a lot of people see that and they're like, yeah, this makes sense. Okay.
Well, the movie Idiocracy. I thought was idiotic at the time, but I'm not thinking so much anymore.
I don't think so. Yeah.
But I'm just curious, like in your guys' workplace, do you guys talk about that? Because I think people think that, my friends think that, like, what does Europe care about? No, Europe cares a lot about what's going to go on.
So
because you know Trump wants to pull out of NATO, like a lot of things. Yeah.
So without disclosing too much, I think that the American conversation is a part of a lot of organizations' strategy scenarios, right? So President X comes in, what's our situation with NATO? What's our situation with trade? What's our situation with that? How does it affect our businesses and all of that stuff? So without even talking about like high-level stuff, I think that even just on our lunch tables, I mean, you can't avoid a conversation about, hey, have you seen the last debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump? And everybody's wondering, like, wait, apparently somebody's eating cats in where? And it blows people's minds that is even something that is brought up on a presidential debate stage, right? So at the same time, I think that there's a lot of fear. And there's a lot of worry, and that's something also that I heard in the recent trips that I've taken in different places, that so in the short term, maybe having Donald Trump might be good for business, but it's a short-term thing. What you need in the long term is the kind of stability that gives the kind of security that allows genuine growth to happen, not a spike in something just because somebody said you should pay more tariffs, or then having the people on your the guys that bet on certain outcomes. What is that called?
Hedging.
Hedging.
Bet,
So because a lot of the guys in the hedging side are like, we're going to have a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah.
Right? So that kind of like uncertainty is good for a certain group of people for certain things for a very small amount of time. But in the long term, I think in any country and in any environment, you want safety, you want stability, you want assurances that make money flow, right? So yeah, so it's scary. But I have to say, at some point, it's the last thing I'll say about politics, because politics is a very dodgy subject. When Trump came out the first time, right,
To visit Finland, right?
and come and rake the forest,
Yeah.
Jesus.
when Trump came out the first time, there was a general sentiment from people that have experienced similar kinds of leaderships in third world countries that were like, oh, wow, now they get to experience what we experience with people like this.
Like Idi Amin or something stupid like that. Yeah.
Right?
You mean like he's
absolutely
one of
crazy.
us kind of thing? Or?
No.
No.
They
Yeah.
were like, this.
This is the kind of shit that we have to put up with.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
now
yeah,
you know
I
what
get
it's like.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's a bit of the when I see the politics in Mexico, right? You see, like, there's a channel that, for example, airs the Congress all the time, and these kind of things, and you can see it. Bro, there's fighting all the time. Like people like fighting there on the
Fist fighting.
Yeah,
crazy things. People
Mexican
protesting,
wrestling.
shouting. People come and like the last woman that was running for president, the one that lost. She became quite famous because they were trying to do something that's like, okay, now we're gonna move the session to somewhere else, and she changed herself to a desk. And this you see these crazy things that just like, what the hell's
What is
going
going
on?
on?
And you, for example, you see in Europe most of these Congress and parliaments is very civilized, right? And then you see that it's like, what the fuck? And then you see now like in the US with Trump, and it's like, yeah, as you said, oh yeah, this is I've seen this before. I mean, it's heading that way.
Yeah, and
that it will help no one.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy to watch for the biggest economy, the biggest military might, the country that is supposed to be
superpower.
the superpower. To see that kind of like breaking apart, is like,
It's mind-boggling.
how can we not be scared and worried?
Yeah.
How can the rest of the world not be sitting there thinking, like, okay, so the world is ending?
Yeah, there's a new movie on Apple TV Plus, and it's called Civil War, and it's based around a civil war
What would happen
under these circumstances.
Yeah.
That the president who bears no passing resemblance whatsoever to Donald Trump has set up 10-meter high concrete walls around the White House as he's losing the war.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just tell this one last story before we get off the politics. So when I first moved here 10 years ago, it was like I think a year into it, there was elections going on in the center here. And, my first time here, I see all these booths set up, people hang out flyers. So I'm walking around, hey, what's going on here? Like, the elections are next Tuesday. If you want to know more about the person, just go up to a booth and ask. So I'm like, okay. I go to the first booth. Hey, so tell me, what do you stand for? What are you about? We are against immigrants and foreigners in Finland.
Okay, not this one.
I was
Moving along.
Yeah, I was like, no need.
All right, that's not for me then.
But to see now that they're infiltrating the government a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like the way that perussuomalaiset, the true Finns,
Yeah.
have toned down their message,
Mm-hmm.
toned down their. But I mean, like, I think it's just a wolf in sheep's clothing.
No, oh yeah.
But do you think is I think we talked about this before, but I think there's a correlation when Trump is in power, it empowered those people more.
Oh yeah.
Because
Because I mean, like, they're all feeding off the same social media.
Absolutely. And they're sitting in the same chat groups.
Nationalism, yeah.
Because you had this comment both in the US when Trump won, and then when Perussuomalaiset were like didn't won, but they got quite a big amount of votes.
Yeah.
You could read the exact same comment of like, oh, now we can say this.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so it's like it's
if Trump
yeah.
can say it, then
Yeah.
I'm maybe and maybe I'm the kind of person who tends to be a little bit more skeptical about a lot of things, but I've always been more worried not about the mouthpiece, But the political strategist that sits behind and advises and plans all of these things for these kinds of political parties, right?
Yeah, like who is it for Trump? Stephen something.
Miller.
Stephen
Oh,
Miller.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
That
the
guy's-
guy. Oh, jeez. I mean, he looks like a Nazi.
Exactly. Pull the strings. Yeah. America for American people. Yeah, what does that mean? America's for Americans.
Right.
Sounds familiar, right? Yeah. Germany's for Germans, right?
Find those guys,
Yeah.
right? Stop worrying about the mouthpiece. Find the guy who's sitting behind back there somewhere.
Steve
Putting-
Bannon back in
Steve
the
Bannon
Trump
as
days.
well.
Back in the days, yeah.
Those are the problematic guys.
Yeah. Project 2025, Heritage Foundation.
Yeah.
Those are the
And
the
what was that?
strings.
That British website at some point, or the think tank that was doing the whole social media.
The Cambridge was it
Yeah,
Cambridge
Cambridge
Institute?
Institute.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that we should be worried about.
Yeah.
Cambridge Institute, where
And
we're
the-
doing all the social
yeah.
media mining
Yeah,
and
exactly.
finding
Yeah.
out exactly who to
Yeah.
target, and this
Yeah.
is and putting in the exact right messages into the right place
Yeah.
to make them
Cambridge
even more.
Analytica. I think
That's
it was
it.
called
Yeah, that's
Cambridge
what it's called,
Analytica.
yeah.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
that good? Yeah. Very
Those
good.
are the guys. I think that's the level of strategy play that other political parties should be playing, but with a positive message, with a positive vibe, with the right information and the right facts, with a similar level of aggression.
But when there's a huge tide of putrid hate,
Yeah.
I mean, another thing. Well, I mean, like Nazi Germany back in the days. I mean, like not every German was a Nazi.
No.
Not
Exactly.
every German followed this thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, like they were part of the silent majority,
Yeah.
and being silent is the problem.
It's problematic.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
like sometimes it's better to do something than do nothing.
Yeah.
And it's hard for people to take that step to do something.
Yeah. And on that note, thank you very much, Simon. Do you have anything to plug for this winter?
Let me see. We got next week, this week, because this is coming out next
Yes,
week.
yes.
So yeah,
This
I
will
mean,
come
like,
out after the election. God bless.
yeah. So after all that mayhem, we got on Thursday. This Thursday, we got the improv comedy Yada Yada are coming. So I'm sure we'll see Rene again here. And then next month, I've got a few bands lined up. I've got the super awesome, super fight the system, Samai Koskinen coming to play his gig here. I've also got Kielo Karkainen coming and Hot Heroes, the jazz trio. They're going to come and do something
Nice,
over.
nice.
So that's 3 gigs lined up for December. Should be a fun time. Other than that, I mean, like check our social media and so on. Facebook, Twitter, or not Twitter, but Facebook. What's the other one? Instagram. You know, I actually left Facebook because I could not stand this tide of just so much bad info coming my direction. It made me sick to my
I quit
stomach.
for almost 2 years.
And then Twitter, I had to do the same too
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Elon Musk
Elon,
took over
yeah.
and took off all the
Freedom of
safety
speech.
rails.
Yeah. Oh, it's a shit show.
Jesus.
It's weird, and he's from South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his father mines diamonds.
Yes.
That's another rabbit hole for like.
Oh
can-
man.
We need another hour for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but the cars are good though. Teslas are good, right?
Yeah. I
What?
The Teslas.
I would like to have a
Garbage.
Tesla if it didn't have Elon Musk behind it.
Yeah. Well, you can follow Kano. We'll post up on all the links when these come out. So.
Come and try the new menu.
Oh
yes,
Good.
please do,
Definitely recommended.
Yeah.
And
Loads
remember
of
to
great
like,
snacks
comment,
and some
subscribe.
great meals too. So
And hopefully, I'll make it back from America alive. The airports won't be shut down because of riots.
Yeah, best of luck with that, man.
Civil War.
Civil War start.
Civil War started.
It's not an impossible.
Exactly. That's the scary part.
path,
Yeah.
Nah, but you'll be all right, Tam. You're good.
Okay.
And we have faith in the outcome of your elections.
Let's see.
Faith and democracy.
Yeah.